It's the middle of September and my book cart is a bit full. Let's get into it. So I don't know how everyone else configures their book cart. However, my book cart is very simple. There's 3 shelves. Usually it's packed to the brim, but I stopped doing that because then I forget what books are on there. I only pack it so that one side is showing, the front facing side is showing, so that I know exactly what's on the cart and what I'm thinking about reading. So let's start at the top. At the top of my book cart, the first shelf is basically knickknacks, my coloring books, an old reading journal, and things like tabs and stuff like that. However, the books that are usually on this shelf, the books that we're either going to be reading or have already read for the book club. Chai and Chapters is the book club that I run over on Fable, and we have a book discussion at the end of the month after we've read the book. And for the book for September is Seeing Red, Bliss Peak Novel 2 by Sean. I've already read mine. However, I'm still in Fable talking to the girlies and letting them know my thoughts when they respond to anything chapter related. So that is what's on the top of my book cart. What's left at the top of my book cart are the remaining books that I have for my 12 to read in 2025, which are Tia Williams' The Perfect Find. I have not even started this one, but I'm going to real soon because I do want to be finished before Christmas. Like, I want to be finished with this book before Christmas. The same with The Landlord by Brandon Massey. Never read a book by Brandon Massey, but I'm ready to read this one. And I love thriller. I don't know why I keep glossing over this one. I think it's more so because it doesn't cross my mind to read it. So that's why I put it at the top of the book cart, so that now it's on my radar. And Call Baby. Y'all have seen this book pop up in so many, not TBRs because we know I don't do those, but in so many videos saying I'm about to read this book, and I still have not read this book. But again, it will be read by the end of December. On the second shelf are sequels that I need to read. So on here, let's start here. We have The First Lady by Carl Weber. This is the church series. I've read 2 books in this series. This is the 3rd one. I think there's actually more books in this series. Yeah, there's 2 more books in this series. And this series is just a whole bunch of church drama and mess, showing you that not everybody that say they saved are following what they're supposed to be following and doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I enjoy this series. It's a messy, messy series, and I'm going to continue to read this series. But this is the 3rd book in the series. I just got this book from Book Outlet, so it's not like it's been on my backlist forever, but I will be reading it real soon. The next book is Devour the Dark by Nikki St. Crow. This is the 2nd book in the Captain Hook, Crocodile, and Wendy story, Devourer of Men. And I love me some Nikki St. Crow. Her writing is really, really fun. It's really, really sexy. It's really, really spicy, all of the things. And I love a Peter Pan retelling, even if it's not just following Peter Pan. I love what the authors who utilize the Peter Pan story do with that world and those characters. So this one I haven't read yet, but it's on my radar to read. Next is Assist by Alexandria House. This is the 3rd book, St. Louis Sires. This is Black Hockey Romance, and I love Alexandria House down, but I try to space her work out so that it lasts me longer. So I have something that I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to read that. I can never wait to read her books, but again, she's just a girl. She's just a girl author, and she can't put out work every 2 to 5 business days. So I have to make her work last until I can get my hands on the next one, or until she comes out with something else. So I'm just making this last. However, this is the 3rd and final book in the St. Louis Sires Black Hockey Romance series, and I can't wait to read it. Next, we have Hearts That Cut by Kika Hatzopoulou. I read the 1st book in this series from my Fairy Loot box when I was subscribed to Fairy Loot, and I enjoyed it. It was, I want to say, new adult, not YA, but it was straddling the line YA slash new adult fantasy. And it's about three girls that kind of like their magic is intertwined. Three sisters, their magic is intertwined. And one of those sisters has gone against the family and aligned with the other side. One was trying to figure out what was going on. At the end of the first book, there's a lot still up in the air. And I guess this is where this book comes into play. I really enjoyed the story, so I can't wait to get into this one as well. Next, we have this big old chunky book. You know that sound that says, what do you have to say that's this much? That's how I feel about this book. This is A Queen of Ruin by K.F. Breene, and I've read the first 3 books in this series. This is the 4th and final book, I believe, in this series. Yeah, this is the 4th and final book in this series. And I think the only thing that's been putting me off of this series is this last book is how long it actually is. Now, this series is fun. It is hilarious. It's laugh out loud. It's not taking itself too seriously. It is a Beauty and the Beast kind of reimagining. It is very spicy. It borders the line of interjecting our real world reality into this fantasy that is strictly a fantasy. It's not any real world or our world interjected here. But K.F. Breene does a great job, in my opinion, of interjecting things like, let's say, dildos into this time frame. And it's funny to me, maybe not to other people, but I laugh. However, again, the only thing that's keeping me from reading this book is that it's long as hell. But it is the final book in a series, and it will help me finish a series. So it might be on my in one of my videos, in my serial and finisher of series videos, because I do need to finish it, especially since it's the last book. Okay, next we have Audrey and Bash Are Just Friends by Tia Williams. This is kind of, in my opinion, a companion to 7 Days in June, because if you've read 7 Days in June, you know she has a preteen. I think it was a preteen daughter in there, and now her daughter is fully teen, and this is her daughter. However, if you see my bookmark is in here because I stopped after chapter 2. I got to chapter 3 and I stopped because 7 Days in June is a really good book to me. I enjoyed it. I read it. I enjoyed it, especially since I relate to both the male and female character because of my own upbringing, right? And I enjoyed both of those characters equally. However, in the first 2 chapters of this book, Tia Williams has written the male and the female characters of 7 Days in June as parents, now in this book, and they are horrible. They are horrible, and I just couldn't get with, how could you make them so lovable and likable there and make them crappy here? So I said I'm a sort of DNF for right now, because I didn't have the mental capacity to deal with that, to equating the two. Like, I couldn't. So I just said I'm a soft DNF. I'm going to get back to it. This is YA romance, and Audrey is trying to come to terms with her mother and her stepdad having a new baby, her actual father and his wife having a baby. She's feeling like she's unwanted in this place of like limbo. She's feeling displaced before she's even left for college. Next we have The Shadow Soul and Ancient Evil Awakenings by Caitlin Davis. Dance of Dragons Book 1. Caitlin Davis has written one of my favorite YA fantasies, and it's The Raven and the Dove. Love that book down. 4 books. Loved it. But this one, I read a prequel book, and it grabbed my attention, so I got the first book in the series. So let me read you what's on the back, because not even I really know what this fantasy is about. An ancient evil awakens, an age of myth is reborn, 2 unlikely heroes rise. I like Caitlin Davis's writing, so I'm hoping to like this one. The prequel, like I said, was good enough to spark some interest, so I hope that the actual series is good. Next up, we have The Maid and the Crocodile by Jordan Ifeweko. Yeah, so this book is it's in the world of Jordan Ifeweko's duo series of the Ray Bearer, that series, and it's a story set in that world. I don't think it has those characters in it, but it's set in that world. And what got me to wanting to read this is the note to the readers. It says, The Maid and the Crocodile is a warm-hearted fantasy set in the mystical world of Olawan City, exploring themes of disability, discrimination, permanent physical injury, emotional and physical abuse, reproductive coercion, and familial death. And it says, prepare to embark on a magic and secret-filled adventure. That gets me because this checks a lot of the boxes of me wanting to diversify my reading. Different aspects of diversifying my reading just consists of adding in those types of stories, and this will check a lot of those boxes off, so I can't wait to read this one. Next we have Ayana Gray's Beasts of Ruin. This is the sequel to Beasts of Prey, which I actually really enjoyed. And Beasts of Prey I read kind of after I read Caitlin Davis's fantasy of The Raven and the Dove, and I was on a high from that, and then I read Beasts of Prey and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm loving this. So I enjoyed the first one. This is the second one. There still is a third book that I own and have to read, but I did love being in this fantasy world, so I can't wait to continue in the series. Now we have Hunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. I am not busting at the seams to read this. The first one was not good. It just wasn't good. I don't like this new idea of dub con, non-con, and all of those things, because it seems like no one really knows how to do it well, and I wish authors would steer clear of it. But anyway, I did read the first one. The mystery in the first one was more important to me than the actual romance. I read the first one. It's time to finish because I do own it. I am going to read it. I do not unhaul books that I have not at least tried to read. That is the second shelf, just sequels of books that I want to read more sooner than later. And now you probably can't see it. Let's see if we can get you lower to see it. This shelf right here with these books, these are books that I have on hold on Libby that I want to immersively read. So I have the audiobooks on hold, and when those audiobooks become available, these books will get read. So let's go through this third shelf. First we have Merc, the Gangster, the Gentleman by Beloved. This is the second book in the Protector series. And I believe I did a video on this. I do not own the first book in this series. I went to Southern Hearts and Signed Kisses last year, and I bought the second and the fourth book. How did I end up doing that? I don't know, but I didn't buy the first or the third. Go figure. And I listened to the first one in this series, Asylum, and it was okay. It was a second chance romance, and I do not like second chance romances, so I was bound not to like that one. But it was okay. But this is the second one in that series, so I can't wait to read it. Next, we have The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. I am an Anne Rice lover only because of The Interview with the Vampire. That has been my favorite movie since I was a little children. And I recently read that, The Interview with the Vampire, I think it was 2 years ago. And I loved that book. It was even more creepy, even more, I love the writing style of Anne Rice too. But I got to the second book, which was The Vampire Lestat, and it was so boring to me. It was so unbelievably boring. It just was. But The Queen of the Damned, the movie, chef's kiss, Aaliyah did her damn thing. So I can't wait to read The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. And this is a whole long ass series, and I didn't really know it was that long, but I'm here for the ride. Next up, we have Abby Jimenez, Part of Your World. This is supposed to be like a first book in a certain kind of series. Don't know what the series is, and I've never read an Abby Jimenez book. However, I can't wait to read it, just to see if Abby Jimenez is an author that I would continue to read. Yeah, because I've never read an Abby Jimenez. I've only heard in part that her books are so good, but I'm also hearing along with that her books are said to be romance, but it's more like women's fiction or women's lit. I'll see. Hopefully I can get on board with her writing. If I can, then I'll move on with reading more from Abby Jimenez. But at this point, we'll just see. This book has seen better days. This book I actually took with me to Norway because I think a lot of us took this book or something in the vein of these books to Norway so that we could read these, because it kind of had the vibe of Nordic, just that kind of Viking-ish vibe. But and none of us read it. If you've seen Gavin's video, he took this book with him to Norway, and his got rained on. He had to buy a new one. Mine was just in my suitcase getting battered. But I still have it. So The Fury of the Gods, this is the third and final book in the Bloodsworn trilogy. And when I say high fantasy, this is what this is. High fantasy, high stakes, fighting. There's dragons, there's wolves, there's this thing, whatever this thing is. And I love the proportions of this, because look how huge this is compared to this little ass boat down here. What is this? But I haven't gotten a chance to read this, but I will, because I want to be enthralled in this world again. I enjoy John Gwynn's writing, and also I think I'm gonna keep this for October, November, December time, just because I want those vibes of fall/winter from this book during that time. Next up, we have The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. This book is so damn creepy. Obviously, I've seen The Exorcist. I've seen, I think, 1 or 2 of the sequels after the original Exorcist came out. I've never read this book. I did watch Gavin read this book, and he didn't give anything away because I don't think there was enough to give away. But I can't wait to read it. If you know anything about me, you know I don't read horror books during Halloween. I don't get nothing out of that. It doesn't make me feel any kind of way. So when I get to it, I get to it. Next, we have When the Wolf Comes Home, No One Will Be Spared by Nat Cassidy. I've never read a Nat Cassidy book, but I hear all the horror girlies love them some Nat Cassidy. So this will be my first book by Nat Cassidy, and I got this one from, I was going to say prescription, but I got this from my Aardvark subscription box. Whoa. Next is Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. But I read the other book, Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, and I enjoyed that one. It was a time loop kind of book, and I do enjoy a time loop. This one, it just kept going back and back and further back and further back. And I got it. I think it was Kenya who said, when the hell, how far we got to go back? I laughed when she said that, because it kept going and it kept going. But I enjoyed it. So I picked up this one by Gillian McAllister, Famous Last Words, and I hope it's just as good. Next, we have Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. I've never read a Sophie Stava, and I do think this may be Sophie Stava's debut novel, but I do like a thriller mystery kind of vibe, so I can't wait. And I'm wondering, do we actually have to count them, the lies that she tells in this book? Let me know if you've read this in the comments. After my last Alice Feeney, I Know Who You Are was a complete, if I could give it no stars and make that count as a review, as a star rating, I would. After that disastrous read of that one, another chance, because I liked Rock, Paper, Scissors. I know a lot of people didn't. And I also enjoyed, what's the other one? Daisy Darker. Daisy Darker is really my favorite book by her, and I also read the other 2, which were okay. Like Rock, Paper, Scissors, I gave it like a 3.5. I enjoyed it enough, and I Know Who You Are was a complete, I wish I would have DNF'd, but I didn't. So now we have Alice Feeney's Beautiful Ugly, set on an island, and I think she's an author. Author. She's an author. On an island, I'm guessing people will end up dead or secrets being told. That's my judge right there. That's my ish. But it seems like a lot of people can't get it right. So I'm hoping that she gets it right in this book. Next is the last fantasy I have on this card, which is Immortal Dark by Tigis Germa. And I've heard there was so much hype around when this book came out, and I got it. I didn't read it at the time, but once it settled and everyone read it and ate it up really quickly, what came of it was, this book is so fucking good. And then everybody else was like, and I don't know where I'm gonna fall in those parameters of loving it so damn much or not liking it at all or not knowing what to think of it. But I hope I enjoy it because vampires. I am team vampire every day, all day. Next we have, I'm hoping, the final and last book, Chloe Walsh's releasing 10, Boys of Tommen. This is the 6th book in the Boys of Tommen series, and I've read all of them except for this one. The 5th book was absolutely my favorite, which was Gypsy's book, and this one is Huey's book and Lizzie's book, and Lizzie is the epitome of I can't stand her. So I don't know where me knowing who Lizzie is as a character for 5 books and then having to read about Lizzie in this book is going to leave me, but we shall see. And last but not least, we have Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. This series, the Ruinous Love Trilogy series, 3 brothers. I read about the first brother who was the serial killer, and this brother, I don't know. This one, I have no idea who this brother is. However, I enjoyed the first book. I gave the first book a 4-star, I believe. It was entertaining enough, but I heard a lot of things like it's akin to H.D. Carlton's Cat and Mouse duet. No, it's not. In my opinion, it is not. Or that is heavily, heavily smutty. And again, no, it's not. The first kiss in the first book didn't even happen till 50% in. 50% in. And I think it was 1 or 2 sex scenes after that. After the 50% mark, 1 or 2 sex scenes after that. So take that with a grain of salt. But I recently read it, so I have it more vividly in my mind. But this one, I'm hearing everybody saying, oh my God, it's not as good as the first one. Usually 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th books are never as good as the first one. But I enjoyed the first one, so I'm going to give this one a try. So if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow over here. We all love growth. But let me know if there's any books on this book card that you have read already that you want to give me a heads up on. What should I push up? What should I be wary of? Because I'm going to try all of them at least. Hopefully not by the end of the year. I don't know about that. But I will at least try to read them. So let me know in the comments. Don't forget, if you want to be a part of the book club, Seeing Red by Sean, the 2nd book in the Bliss Peak series, is what we're reading. And I believe it's September 28th. If it's not, I'll put it on the screen, the correct date and time. But we will be discussing this at the end of the month of September. So if you want to be a part of our discussion on this romance, this is a MMF by Awakening romance. But yeah, don't forget to have a great reading day, month, week, year. A great reading time. And I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye.